We're live.
We're live.
Can you hear us? Yes? No?
Yes. Yes. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
I don't see this live stream.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah.
Can you see us now?
Yes, I can hear and see.
Woohoo! Awesome.
I'm coming back.
Please do.
You're fine.
We're live right now. So.
We're live.
I know, I'm coming. Coming. I'm finishing getting settled.
We want to leave this view up or what?
I think we can leave it up.
Let's see the chat.
Oh. Oh, my water is over there. I'll get up. Ugh. Ugh.
Now we gotta post it everywhere. Oh, look at what's going on.
You gotta turn the sound off.
There we go.
You are not getting my water, dear.
I guess we could make it big.
Make what big? Why?
I guess we can move it.
Leave it. It's fine. This way everybody can see the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a max?
That is a max.
Hello, Max.
Hi.
Hi, Max. Waiting for everybody else to join the party. Get some caffeine in me, so maybe I make some sense.
Woo.
I'm fucking covered in cold right now.
If you have a
Oh, I think you can steal it from the announcements.
announcements,
I did. I
announcements,
posted it.
announcements.
There's so many nerds in one place.
It's an entire couch full of nerds. The couch cannot actually hold any more nerds.
I'm gonna shut the door. Or
Nerds.
not shut it, but
We're gonna get a turkey interruption.
we will get turkeys.
Wow. Yeah, listen to us and like cook dinner.
Hello.
That's here.
You are here too.
Yeah, are you in
Why
chat?
are you in chat?
What are you
Why are you in
Why
chat?
am I in chat?
Yeah.
Well, I joined the live stream so that I could pull the link because it wasn't letting me copy your link.
Well, that's dumb.
I went over there and then suddenly covered in styrofoam.
That's the start. We're not talking about anything on that couch because it's a secret.
It's a secret.
Everything on that couch.
There's
is a
great
secret.
masses of styrofoam.
Mm-hmm. I'm probably gonna go back to Michigan and I'll just be haunted by styrofoam for the next year.
You will.
Hi, Thad.
It's good to have it, Thad. So, I'm gonna give it a little bit. See who else is gonna come say hi.
It's Jack.
It's a Jack!
Hi.
Looking at that camera screws me up real hard.
Why?
Because I'm sure you know that I do this. I like compulsively push my hair out of my eyes. Right? Like you see me do it all the time. But it's backwards.
So you just want to do it backwards?
So I want to do it the other way.
No.
And it's not. It's really not good.
That's
Oh, you are going to be our chat because their chat is not scrolling.
I have the chat power. It's fine. I have it. Wade's here. Hey, Wade.
Do we want to get started then?
We can get started. We've got
We
some
have a
friends.
lot of stuff.
We have so much stuff.
So much stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay, am I starting with like what we have? Oh no, you have them all. Never mind. I'm not emceeing this. I'm so used
Introductions is first.
to. Y'all know who we are.
I think most people do.
But like, we should do it because this is gonna be saved and put on YouTube. As well.
Yes.
So what if this is somebody's first video?
Exactly.
Okay, who are you?
Who are we?
We're Words After Dark.
We're a writers coalition.
Because being an indie author alone sucks.
We make a support group for people, for writers of like every background and experience level. We all just come together and swap ideas and share juicy characters.
I don't know if you're supposed to publicly reveal that the entire watch chat is really thirsty, but you have.
Yes.
That's public knowledge now. But yeah, that's what we do is we try and help other indie authors do the thing and have it suck as little as possible. So, names.
I'm Ace.
I am Alexa Windsor.
And I'm Mouse. All y'all in chat know this, but hey, we're just covering our bases here.
With our powers combined, we are one.
With our powers combined! And that makes you guys the squad. Wade wants to know what the fuck is on my lap. Okay, well you figured I'm gonna tell this story really quick.
Okay.
My laptop's falling apart. So it looks like I'm really fancy because I have like Bluetooth headphones and I have a wireless keyboard and stuff. I have them because my headphone jack doesn't work and my keyboard on my laptop doesn't work anymore. So that's what it's just a lap desk. That's all that it is. It's just, although you could probably surf on it if you were really careful and tiny.
It's like a skim board almost.
But yeah, so yeah, it's just because my laptop's falling apart.
All right, I think I've shared the link just about everywhere I can.
Okay.
So this is like almost everything we do Q&A.
Oh yeah, we didn't even mention that.
Discussion style.
I was mentioning it.
So feel free to write questions in the comments and we will.
Yeah, at any time if you have a question, put it in the comments and our comment handler, Mouse, our comment wrangler.
I should not be trusted.
Although we do have
But
the
I'm
chat like right up there.
No,
So
it don't scroll.
Oh, it doesn't scroll. Okay.
Doesn't
That's the
scroll.
problem.
First question of the night. Wade asks, can I surf on it? Can you personally surf on it? No, because I need it for work. Can you buy one and surf on it? Sure.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, Q&A. Ask your questions. Also, Zach's here. Hi, Zach.
Hi, Zach.
Y'all don't know Zach.
I was going to say, I don't know that.
I was
I
just
know.
hi Zacking because you did it and I want to be popular.
Hi.
Hello.
Zach is a friend of mine from back home.
Oh.
He's, as far as I know, he's still in Ontario. Also a wonderful DM.
Oh,
Sweet.
But I didn't expect
the wonderful DM you were telling me about.
One of them, not the one who made a character with a 30-foot reach.
Okay.
Oh.
I also play D&D, so I'm
Zach
psyched.
wants to know what this is. We're talking about book stuff, about the upcoming events, about a trip to Canada.
Are we talking about a trip to Canada?
I was gonna mention it because if Canadians want books, they should just tell me and I'll bring them books. But yeah, so this is an update of what we're doing this coming year and what's going on with the books, and
then
we have
Q&A,
Q&A
and
stuff
I
to do.
have a ton of questions that I pulled up if we have time at the end.
Yes. So that's what this is.
So we're packed full, theoretically.
So first thing on the agenda is book updates. So
Mhm.
we'll start with Mouse because Mouse always avoids attention.
I don't.
Yeah?
I don't.
What are you working on currently, Mouse?
Stone Coast is being edited by our very own Azalea Forrest.
And what is Stone Coast?
Stone Coast is the polyamory monster fucking novel. It is the sequel to Ashen Path. It follows a couple of assassins over some locales that you might be familiar with if you read Ashen Path. If you hadn't read Ashen Path, it still makes sense, so you're fine. But that should be coming out this summer.
But it doesn't have Anna and Karan in it.
It does not. If you're here for Anna and Karan, they're not in the book. If you pronounce Karan's name differently than I do, you're still valid. We have this discussion all the time.
For the longest time, I pronounced his name Sharon.
That's fine. You can get Sharon. I don't think he'd be sad. Does not have Anna and Karan. Does have
But they will show up again.
Enon's in it, if you liked Enon in the first book, and Flint's in it, or Flint's mentioned. Roxy's in it, who is his sister. Trying to figure out who else carries over.
Enon was in the first book.
Enon was in the first book. You read the first
The
book.
second book is a prequel. I thought
No.
Enon didn't get there until the second book.
You
I
guys know
have-
more about it than I do.
I have a span of time that I cover
Okay.
wherein Enon arrives and then is involved in plot.
Yeah.
He's
This
read.
is me not.
He's read the first book.
No, I for sure have.
I did too, Alexa.
Oh, that's Wade yelling about. I'm not sure.
About Crown's name.
Although
Oh!
Max would like to know or like to state that Flint is the ultimate good boy, and he's right.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm working on Stone Coast, assassins, monsters, lesbians, everything that you need in your life. That'll be out this summer.
Perfect.
That's you.
What are you doing?
Besides panicking.
Besides panicking, I don't panic. I am chill as a cucumber on a wind night. Windy night.
On a windy
On a
night.
wind
On a
night.
wind night.
Flailing in the breeze.
Put that on a shirt.
I'm one of the cucumber inflatable flailing tube mans. That's always me. I am currently working on the third book in my April Gladys dog walking mysteries. The third book is called Lynn the Dog a Tenor. And it basically follows the group of friends who live in Chicago based on April Gladys is the main character. She is a dog walker, and she has had a lot of murder happen in her life, of
I'm
which
staring
she
at
did
you.
not do. What?
No, of course you didn't do it. April's
Yes.
perfect. I'm staring at you because I really want this book.
I know.
I really do want it.
I know. But the good news is that I feel really good. So, like, after this visit, because I originally live in Michigan, so I'm really pumped to go and edit my stuff and get it out.
We don't get to steal you as often as we'd like.
Yeah. As soon as teleportation gets invented, I'll be over here, like.
Which will be perfect.
Yes.
But until then.
So the dog walking series is meant to be read in order, and it starts with All Bites, and the second book is Hot Diggity Dog. Some people have asked if it can be read out of order. I think that was the mistake. The Ace.
I read the second book.
Yeah,
The
but-
second book spoils the first book.
That's my fault because they're not numbered, but I tried to like make it clear on Amazon. I need to like do a lot of revamping and reformatting.
Read them in order because they're mystery novels and they're meant to be read in order. And also just read them in general because they're not very long and they're excellent. And you're the only published author I know who can write texting in a way that feels like it does when I'm texting. So yeah, do that. They're excellent. Also, I'm really excited for book 3.
Yes.
Really excited.
What are you looking at me for?
What are you working on right now?
I'm in editing jail right now. Working on The Clearest Blue, which is, as most WAD members know, the Fish Lesbians book.
Gay for Andy.
We accidentally both wrote Monster Lesbians.
It's a book about an angelfish girl and a buff shark lady that end up falling in love, and they get into all kinds of trouble with some underworld stuff, and they have to figure it out together. Currently editing, and then also outlining the first book of my Mercenary series, and just working on that.
Jackie sends you fish and heart emojis.
Yes, thank you, much appreciated.
Now, what's funny is that we were all working on
Monster romances.
Monster
simultaneously.
romances at the same time this last NaNoWriMo because I was writing a paranormal romance about Mothman. Gay one. I
think
there
that
was
goes
lots
without
of gay.
Also, Max would like to make it known that Indy is his wife.
Yes,
Yes.
But I mean, we're all gay for Indy, so it's fine.
yes.
Valid.
Upcoming events. So, Alexa, you want to talk about?
Yeah, you have a shindig.
Oh, so in Michigan, if you're in kind of the Detroit area, southeast Michigan area, in Belleville on May 18th from about 1 to 4, there's going to be an author fair. And so I will be there with my 2 books and also hopefully a couple books of Ace and Mouses. And I'll have the WAD banner set up with a bunch of information. So if you're in the area, again, that's May 18th.
Yeah,
At the Belleville, Michigan District Library.
Books or buttons or bushkas, Alexa will have them for you. That will be great.
Because I'm in charge of our Michigan branch.
We have a Michigan branch. How wild is that? We have an event coming up. By we, I mean Ace and I. The Milwaukeeans. We're gonna be at MATC Oak Creek on the 3rd. I forgot how to do dates for May. On May 3rd, and we're gonna be hanging out with Z and Nui, and April's gonna be there.
Yeah.
On our panel with us.
Cool.
And we're gonna talk about book stuff, and we're gonna glorify fanfic because fanfic is glorious. And it'll be great. And if you're in the Milwaukee Oak Creek area, you should come and say hello because you should. And what else? That's May.
The big one.
The big one.
Anime Midwest.
That's our biggest shindig of the year. It's going to be wild this year. We have more people than ever, and we'll be collecting more as the year goes on.
We have 4 panels.
Yeah, we have 4 panels.
We don't know when they are yet.
No, because they don't have the schedules yet. But we've submitted for how to plot, how to characters, Alexa's amazing mental health panel, and our writing grievances panel.
And we will also have a table.
Not at Midwest.
No, we
Not at
don't.
Midwest. Okay, only at.
We're
CAD.
aiming to have a table for CAD. We'll cover
Okay.
that in a minute.
We'll see.
But you're right.
We're also going to be doing a meetup at Midwest. It won't be on the official schedule, but if you are in WAD chat, we will be posting where and when.
We will probably post links on Facebook or, further info on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, it'll be
And
on all
Tumblr.
of our usual.
But yeah, it'll just be an unofficial little meetup where you can come and talk to fellow members of the WAD. You can talk to us. You can talk to other people in chat.
For a lot of you guys who are in the Discord, we talk to each other every day, but it's a good chance to put names to faces
Yep.
and everything. And everyone has such wonderful faces.
Mhm.
Max would
All
like to
gorgeous.
say, I love the mental health panel, and guess what? Fucking I do too.
It's really good.
The mental health
you.
panel is probably our most warmly received.
Oh, thank you. I am always researching the relationship between mental health and creativity. So if you have experiences or struggles, come and talk to me because I love hearing stories. I like hearing other people's experiences because they help me as well.
If you want to find Alexa, to talk to Alexa about these things, you're really easy to find on Twitter.
Mhm.
Or you can just message the Facebook page,
Yes.
which I usually manage, but Alexa has access to, and they can talk to her. What else? Oh, we're revamping our panels.
Yes. So if you have been to our panels in the past, they're still going to cover, like we said, characters, world building stuff. But we're shaking on up a little bit this year to get a little refresh.
We have now several years of experience under our belts with how to do panels and what's effective and what's not. So we're still going to cover these things that appeal to people and that people still want to learn about. But if you've been to them already, we're going to hopefully try and incorporate enough new stuff that it won't all be the same to you.
Which usually I think we do pretty good anyway. That's why we do discussion based.
We keep it fresh.
And then Alexa already spoiled the.
I did.
So, 1 second. Do you remember when Zach came in, I was like, oh, he's a wonderful DM, but he's not the DM with the character with 30-foot arms?
He is.
No, now that DM is here. Hi, Dustin.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
I didn't expect to collect so many Canadians, but hi Canadians. It's good to see you. I miss all of you so
We
much.
cross borders.
We do. We're big now.
International.
So
On the subject of conventions, so anybody who follows us knows we do Midwest, we do CAD.
Control Alt, Con Alt Delete.
yeah, close.
Control Alt
please.
Con.
Con Delete, which is in Chicago in December. We're going to try and get a table this year in the Artist Alley space.
Mhm.
Where it's at.
We've noticed that 5 minutes or so after panel where people want to buy our stuff is not enough. And it would be really nice to have a place where you can just send people
Mhm.
to get stuff from us.
So we're going to try a table. With that, since we know people aren't just looking for books, we're going to have a whole bunch of merch.
We have so
coming.
much
Yes.
merch planned, guys. We have so much merch planned.
Yes.
So most of it revolves around, like, the books, obviously. Bushkas, obviously, are going to be there. We're going to have prints of characters, of things
Yeah,
in the
beautiful
books.
character prints.
We're
I'm
gonna
going to have stickers of a few of my characters and pets in my books.
I actually just saw, as of like a couple minutes ago, the designs you have for your stickers that are so cute.
I've not shown
Also,
these yet.
sad jokes that if I collect all of my Canadians, I get a free hockey team. But I think that goes without saying is because when you have like 10 Canadians, don't you already have a hockey team? Like that's the whole. But yes,
We're going to have patches, too.
yes,
So
we're gonna
just a little bit of everything.
patches and
And books, of course.
yes,
And
By then, we'll
depending-
probably have 3 more books out. So.
yes, that's the goal.
Depending
We're
on
gonna
if I have my Mothman book done by then and published, I might have a surprise to be at the table.
Maybe. There might be secret merch, but that'll depend on what we have released when CAD comes up.
Did you want to talk about Canada? I said you
I was going to talk very briefly about Canada. I have a trip back home for the summer coming up. If you are a person who wants books, Dustin, I owe you an Ashen Path, and now you're going to get one of the shiny new ones. So like,
Unless he wins it.
no, he didn't enter. He doesn't follow me on Twitter. Actually, I don't think any of my Canadians follow me on Twitter.
Ooh, calling you out.
Oh.
But yeah, so Dustin, you're already owed one. But anyone else who wants books, we're gonna be in the country. I don't have to mail them to you, so just message me and I'll just bring books. to
Hands
Canada.
delivered and
Yeah, I'll
signed.
put them in your hands as well do with my hands. Oh, Azzy's here.
Hi, Azzy.
Hello.
Azzy, we didn't think you were gonna make it. Azzy, we're really glad to have you. We always are. Azalea is my editor, also your editor.
I'm going to say your editor, but our editor.
I just mentioned earlier that she was working on stuff.
You got to share as
My future editor, because I heard really good things about her, and I also want to use her as an editor.
She's an excellent editor. Oh, I'm also editing her newest book. I'm editing A Bitter Drink, and it's great, and it's also super fucking gay. We didn't plan for Words After Dark to end up this queer, but like that's where we are, and I'm not sad about it.
It only enriches things.
What's going on? Is there questions I missed? No, we're good. We're good.
Good.
We're
Next thing you have is the book draw. Unless you want to do
Oh,
that later.
let's do that. We've only been on for like 20 minutes. Let's get another like 10 or so.
Okay, then next thing is
Book draw soon.
game.
Mm.
I don't know what game
Oh,
is.
game was the numbers, the questions.
Was it the question?
Oh no, I had a voting game.
Yeah.
I lied.
Yeah.
I lied. So you guys talk, and I'm gonna. So actually, I'll explain this, then you can talk.
Okay.
So the short version of this is that I'm going to ask a question of who would be most likely to do a thing. You in the audience and you on the couch are going to tell me who in the WAD is
the
most
WAD.
likely going to do the thing. Yes.
Okay.
We're not counting the squad. We'll play with the squad when we're online,
No, yeah.
like when we have more squad available.
Online.
I mean, in person.
like at the meetup?
So we can do this at the meeting.
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
we
you
can do
mean
this.
so the choices are only us? Right?
Yes, the
Okay.
choices are just us and not the squad as a whole. What else is happening? Oh, Az is watching from work, I think. Az, you bad creature. So yeah, you guys, I'm gonna find a good question, and you guys do the thing. Actually, I have a good first question. Who of us is most likely to insult a famous person to their face?
Insult a famous person to their face.
Yes. Dear Watch Chat.
I've got my answer.
Dear.
I want to see what Watch Chat
Commenters.
says before I say it, though.
Oh, Webby's in here. Webby, how did you fucking sneak in? Hi, Webby.
It depends on the celebrity.
Yeah. Who
No,
of the three of
it's
us
an easy answer.
is most likely to insult a celebrity to their face?
It's easy.
Who?
It's Mouse.
That's what I was thinking, honestly. My vote was for Mouse.
Comment me over here. I was gonna say you.
I mean,
I was gonna say Ace.
yeah, but to people I don't know, I'm usually not.
Even Bad says it's me. That didn't turn out how I thought it was going
That
to.
was another question.
Okay. Let me find more questions.
You thought it was me.
No, I can't cheat and look at the questions.
No, you're not allowed. Some of these are really dumb. Who is most likely to set a world record?
You should find more questions while you're waiting for us to answer.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, I've got my answer.
Okay. The question is, who is most likely to set a world record? Max says that Ace is the most likely to insult a celebrity by accident.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
By accident, yes.
But yeah, who is most likely to set a world record?
Oh,
I've got my answer.
me too.
This person.
Yep.
And
What would I set a record in?
not on purpose, just completely on accident.
Yeah. No, I could see that.
It would be something completely random.
Well, and also, I was thinking, like, you also just do so much stuff like that you would accidentally set a world record.
No, my answer was, I think you would just stumble into a world record.
Oh, yeah.
You would accidentally do something the most out of anyone in the whole world.
I like to dabble in like a lot
what's
of different
chat say?
stuff.
There's a lot of Alexa. Sad says, Alexa seems like a force of nature.
Alexa is a force of
You're
nature.
fucking
I am
right.
gifted. I come when I'm summoned.
Also, Jack had like an actual question.
Oh,
Jack wants to know, what is your process like from when you get an idea to when you have something to show for it?
scream a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be the one to bring up the last time you were editing.
When I was screaming.
When you were rolling around on the floor and making whale noises.
Whale noises.
Yeah.
I heard this story.
So what is your process from when you get an idea to when you have the thing in your hand, from all the way to completion?
So is this like a book idea?
I'm assuming, in context.
Or any piece of media. Well, book.
Book is probably the easiest to answer.
When I get an idea, it usually stays in my head and percolates for a long time. I've had ideas percolating for years, but also ideas percolating for, months to like a few weeks. And usually it's whatever I feel like most of my enthusiasm is going towards at that point when I'll start making notes or thinking about making notes and not actually doing it. And then when I actually do make the notes, then I kind of have this outlining thing that I do where I put down, like I brain dump everything, and then I sort those ideas into workable, and then I like make that outline into a bigger outline, and then I just kind of fill in the blanks between events. And then
Your outlining process, as has been given in panels, has helped a lot of people.
okay, I'm glad.
Because you have a much more interesting outlining process than Ace and I. So
I liken it to like the spider web, or the web outlining, where you have like a central branch and you flow outwards from there. And then I write, or attempt to write, the first draft, and then I stick it in the freezer for a while, and then I come back to editing it, and then me and editing stare at each other like, two people across the room at a party, and just kind of glare at each other until we get too desperate, and then we come together and I edit the book.
What else was I gonna say?
And then I get beta readers, and then I publish it.
Yeah.
And then you go through formatting hell.
Formatting hell is not a fun time. That's how I learned about metadata. And you know what metadata is?
Ugh.
It's awful. It's fucking bullshit. I'm really glad that I had you to explain that to me, because I thought I was just crazy. And I actually wasn't crazy. So yeah, so an answer that is not screaming or rolling on the floor, although those are both
there is
valid.
screaming involved. It's kind of similar to Alexa in ways. A lot of my books that I've worked on have been percolating for years. Though I guess the first book I wrote just kind of smacked me in the face and demanded that I write it.
Were you not driving home and then it just punched you right in the head and you
Yeah.
came in the house and you were like, I have to write a book?
But yeah, usually it's come up with an idea, and once it feels solid enough or has enough characters, then outlining, and the way I outline is very different than Alexa, which I'm sure most of you have heard. But it's just like basic stuff.
I also have a list of like 100 different outline styles that I can I should link to it again, because
When in
what
doubt,
works- yeah,
you're the person who knows things.
yeah. Oh.
Don't make that face. You
But yeah, just outlining, and then usually I use like NaNoWriMo to get most of my writing done, and then just editing, and send it off to Azzy to get edited, give it to you to edit it,
For me.
mark it up in red ink, scream a lot.
Azzy asks what we format in. Libra.
I actually, since my books are in ebook format, I plug it into Amazon's. Amazon has software that will help you convert your files into Kindle format.
So what do you use to format it for print?
They also have new software. You can copy and paste all of your stuff and stick it in to their book formatting software now.
That's Krazaxi.
That's what I used for Hot Diggity Dog.
Azzy's streaming. Yeah, Libra. Bitch, I got you. Libra's my favorite. I'm not paying for Microsoft Word.
Also, the Amazon stuff is free, so don't worry about paying.
I love free shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're doing a book giveaway. My process is I usually I get an idea, and these two, sometimes it has to sit for a while. I have books that have been around in my brain for more than a decade, but they just haven't been done. They've still needed work, so they're still hanging out in my brain. But other ones, they come to me and they're like, no, I've already done. You can just write me right now. Cool, fine. And then I make an outline, and like Ace, my outlines tend to be kind of bare bones. But they give us structure, because you know what sucks? Having to do structural edits. Structural edits are the worst. But having that scaffolding makes sure that I'm not fucking anything up too badly. And then I purge the entire novel from my body in an anxiety-fueled rush.
Mouse has worked miracles during NaNoWriMo, and actually Ace and somebody else in the last NaNoWriMo, I think it was Azzy, both wrote 75,000 words during the NaNoWriMo.
Killed it.
I usually do the classic because I stress myself out enough with 50,000.
You gotta take care of your brain.
So,
Thad likes to agree that Libra is great, and like usual, he's right. And Jack says that she's going to handwrite all of her books because formatting scares her, And I would just like to point out, I'll just fucking format it for you. Like, I want to read it anyway, so I will read it and I will format it for you. You're fine. You're fine. Oh my god. But yeah, I'm trying to get better about the anxiety thing. I love Nano, I really do. But I spend 30 days trying not to remove all of my bones because I get really anxious. But yeah, that's the process, Jack.
Yeah.
That's so many a process. But yeah, this is also, for those of you who have joined since the intro, this is also a Q&A. So we have stuff we're doing, but also ask questions. We'll answer your questions. And I'm going to look for more things.
I also have questions.
Oh, yes, Anthony, yes you do. I forgot about that.
Do you want me to start pitching them?
I had another voting thing if people want to vote.
Sure.
Who is most likely to quit their job in the most dramatic way?
That's tough.
Dear Facebook chat. We keep calling you WAD chat, but I mean, you're on the Words After Dark page, so you're kind of like other WAD chat.
Okay, I got my answer.
Who of the three of us is most likely to quit their job in the most dramatic fashion?
Got my answer.
What's your answer?
Yeah.
Jack says Ace, and I agree with Jack.
You know, I was thinking about you.
Both,
Really, both of you.
Max and Wade are also accusing me. I'm my own boss right now. I'm freelance.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
How am I going to dramatically quit my own job?
It's not the job you currently have. It's a job.
But yeah, Jack says that you're going to burn the office down.
I mean, there's been days.
I was going to say, there have been days you wanted to.
So the whole of last year, my job was closing, and I'm currently unemployed because it closed down. There were times when I wanted to burn that place down because it was so freaking stressful. There was speculation we would get together and it would be like a grieving, like a mourning meeting. We'd all just be sitting there going, oh, what are we going to do? It was just very dark.
Webby did mention that you looked kind of guilty.
Alexa always looks guilty. That's her secret.
That is a question. That said, are we doing things for camp? And I'm gonna pretend like I'm not wildly behind.
Well, let's see. I've edited about half a chapter.
So my goal for camp was to edit for 60 hours during the whole thing, and I've gotten 1 hour down.
Basically, we're
There's
terrible.
enough time.
The month has been kind of nonsense the way it tends to be.
There's more leniency when it comes to camp.
Which I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
The good news, like the bad news for me, is that I haven't gotten much more done in Melancholia Theory. It's still sitting at about, it needs 10 more chapters, which really isn't that bad, so I will get it done. But my main goal is to pick my ass up and edit the rest of Bitter Drink for Azalea, because I'm behind. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm hoping to get back to it soon. And if I can get that done, I'll be very happy with myself. You're struggling through editing jail.
I'm barely even in editing jail.
Azalea says, do y'all use templates? The y'all is included. Do y'all use templates to format, or do you just wing it? I totally still have the Create Space 6x9 template that I use for everything.
Again,
Because I hate setting margins. Sorry.
yeah, no, it's fine. I kind of have to revisit, because, again, like, I mostly use the Amazon templates when I'm formatting stuff.
I don't.
No, I format
I don't format, so.
No, I use the old Create Space 6x9. Oh, the other thing I use for formatting that I didn't mention because we only have to do it every once in a while is I use Nitro. And I use Nitro when we do Melancholia books because they have illustrations, and I need a way to put illustrations into the text. So yeah, I also use Nitro to format. Thing that I forgot. But yeah, do you want to go to your question?
Sure.
We can do more voting later if we want. They're pretty fun. I like your guys'
Yeah,
answers. They're
yeah.
hysterical.
So I've got a whole bunch of questions, a list of big questions, and I'm just going to pull a random number and ask a question of my compatriots and myself. So the first number is going to be 33, and that is, what is your motivation for writing more?
Spite. Saltiness.
Okay. So you say that, but he asked the question, and I go like this because I'm like, okay, don't say spite. Don't say spite. And you're just like, spite.
No, actually, a lot of mine is I'll walk through a bookstore and I'll know what I want to read
And it won't be
and I can't find it. And so I then have to go and I have to write it. And sometimes I'll be reading or consuming like a video game or a movie and the characters won't do what I want. So then I have to go and make similar characters do what I want.
Yeah, like you're like, oh, this would be a really interesting direction. I wonder if they're gonna, and then they don't, and you're like, well,
Yeah.
I guess I have to do everything myself.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Bad Life Dad, that Smashwords has some good templates and stuff. So if anyone's looking for templates, you can find them there. But
I guess my motivation for writing more is also spite, and also I know that if I don't write it, the story's never going to get told.
I don't know. I'm sure everyone in Facebook chat knows this, but we're salty.
We're a salty bunch.
We're really salty.
We have a Discord emoji that is just salt.
It's the salt shaker.
Salt shaker.
Because that's what we're like. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But keep going. I get it.
No, that's pretty much it.
That's my answer too. So I find, I don't know if this is just a writer thing or if this is a person with depression thing or what, but I find that positive motivators don't usually stick as well for me. For those of you who know Z, Z is one of the people who makes me feel like I want to create just to enjoy creating, because I'm pretty sure she's actually a magical creature and not a human being.
Oh, she's a Disney princess.
She would be hilarious. I don't know if she's in the
She'd
stream,
be the most done Disney princess.
but I'm gonna tell. Well, we can. I think we might see her tomorrow, so we'll tell her that if we see her tomorrow. That's amazing. But usually I write because something's annoying me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't find this book that already exists,
Yep.
because I don't like the way a PC Media use their characters, because I'm looking for something and it's not there, like in the universe. Ashen Path existed because I was so sick of like traditional medieval fantasy tropes, and I was like, I hate all of these, and now I'm salty and I'm gonna write a book about it. So I do find that really helps, because unlike positive reinforcement, I never run out of spite. There's always something to be salty about. But you want to balance it, because you don't want to get so frustrated with the state of the world that you can't write.
Mm-hmm.
So, comes with a warning. Jack asked, as you edit, do you add or cut or both?
Both.
Well,
Both. 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 There's a bunch of sections in Stone Coast right now, where Azalea's pointing out, like, you can expand that. I wrote it during Nano, so I was in a fucking hurry. So there's lots of parts where she's like, you could do this, you could do this, and I'm like, oh, thank you, I will do that.
actually, I don't do either of those things. I just completely rewrite.
Yeah, you just eat it into the trash and just do it over from scratch.
Yeah.
But with that said, working from the rough draft that you already had,
It's way easier.
and you use those ideas better.
Yeah.
I will say, when I'm writing, like when I'm revising, I don't throw away the first draft. I will open a second document and then copy and paste everything, because I don't advise anyone to delete any of their old writings, no matter how unhappy you are with it. Keep it, because
Keep everything.
it's part of your history, for one thing. You can see how you've developed, but also there might be something in that first draft that you can use for later or in something else.
There was another question. Question for me. Serious question from us. Which fantasy tropes do I hate the most? We're gonna be here all fucking night. Actually, this is Wade's question, and Wade and I have talked a lot about writing before. And one of the things that we've discussed was situations where prejudice exists where there's no reason for prejudice to exist. So putting things into a book because they're historically accurate, even if in your fantasy universe there's no reason for those things to happen. Ashen Path's a good example. Ashen Path doesn't have a lot of sexism because there's no religious complex for those things to have been drawn from. So it wouldn't make any sense for that to be there, and I'm not putting it in there to be accurate in my goddamn fantasy universe. It's just, it's not the way that works.
Also, race.
Yeah, same thing. Like, the way all those relations work with each other depends on how you build your universe. So the way your prejudices work depend on how you build your universe. And I don't really see a lot of point in including those things unless you're going to do something viable with them. Catfish is here!
Hey.
So yeah, you can also answer.
Oh, I wasn't even.
What fantasy
thinking.
tropes?
Yeah, what, stereotype, because you've helped me write. You started writing Iron Gate.
Oh, I will say grimdark fantasy tropes, like the stuff that you have to have like a really, really gritty and dark world. Because some of the most the universes that are near and dear to me, especially when playing video games, are the vibrancy, or the ones that have a lot of exotic concepts in them.
You also, with Grimdark, you risk sliding all the way into Narm, where things become so dark that they're hilarious. So that's a problem that I find a lot with things. So
I find a lot of fantasy universes are trying hard to outdark one another.
that does seem to be a trend these days.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry.
I guess overused. This is fantasy, right?
Yes, fantasy tropes
So I guess
that make you angry.
one of the things is when people take specific fantasy races and use that to determine all of their personality.
That's so lazy and boring.
Like your elves, who are always the stuck-up people.
The wise ones.
Also, Dustin would like to point out that Grimdark is his jam, but I'd also like to point out that, Dustin, you don't suck at it. So, anyways.
I am a person who likes gritty mysteries and horror, so I understand when it's done correctly. Yes. Or when it's done nicely.
I forget what I was saying.
When people take fantasy races and then base their entire personality on.
Yes. It's the same thing with supernatural things.
Yes.
Like-
yes.
I have a character who's a succubi who is not there for that, just because I like subverting those things. Because I'm sick of every single thing, every single succubi being the sexy,
the lustful one.
For those of you who have read Melancholia Project, I forgot the name of my own book. Those of you who have read the Melancholia Project, those of you who like the Sins, Sins subverting their titles. I mean, also the virtues, everyone else, but the book is mostly about the Sins. So them subverting their titles and such is a big product of you
That's pinnacle Ace Layton, subverting expectations.
And also, I like that you push me to do that, and that you push other writers to do that, because I think it makes things more interesting.
Yeah.
Taking things at face value is snoozy.
Yeah.
Jamal's question: what do you think you're best at? I actually just had to answer this question for an interview. So yeah, what do y'all think you're best at?
Dialogue.
I would
You are excellent at dialogue.
Yeah,
Truthfully.
definitely.
You could write any two people talking to each other and I would just like, just put it in my eyeballs. It helps that you have like really dynamic and interesting people.
Mm.
But also, yeah, you're excellent at dialogue.
Would you say that your background in RPing, like role
For
playing?
sure. Like, that's helped.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I mean, you've
so-
only RP'd for 15 years. So.
Yeah.
Max says that we're in bed with him. So, Max, we're just going to snuggle with you.
Yeah. Just relax.
Alexa, what are you best at? Besides everything, but we know that.
Oh. I actually really like writing with the senses. That's something I want to incorporate in my writing more, is like more sense-based. Like, how does something look? How does it feel? How does an area smell? Because I think that is a very powerful tool in making someone visualize your setting and, even a character. So that is something that I personally like to dabble in, or, like to focus on in my writing.
Jack says, Ace the Dialogue King with, I guess, is that like a royal emoji? I can't fucking tell. But that's you, I guess. That's you, Ace the Dialogue King. So,
What are you good at?
oh,
What
bitch,
are
I
you
don't
the
know.
best at?
Bitch, I don't know!
That's not an answer.
Okay, so the way I answered this for the interview is that what I consider myself to be best at is not necessarily what people reading me might consider me to be best at.
Mhm.
Because just because it comes easily to me doesn't mean that it's necessarily the thing that I do the most well. So I really don't know overall what my readers think I'm best at. I get lots of really nice feedback as to things like
What do you think you're best at? Because that's the whole question.
I don't know. I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
But no, I get feedback on like the way I've handled things that have been really dear to people, like mental illness.
Mhm.
And I get a lot of feedback from people who really like my characters. So I don't know if this is the answer, but I want that to be my answer. I want characters to be my strong point. And their answers have been reassuring. But I am still working on that and working to improve because I think
I would agree that if I had to guess what you were best at,
you read my work, so you can
I
absolutely
would
guess
say
what I'm best at.
that you write,
You
I'm going to say damaged people. And anyone who's read your work
yeah, I would agree with that.
will
But you
and not
handle
in a
it
bad
well.
way.
Yes.
No,
Like,
I'm
they are,
laughing at how apt that is. I'm
Yeah.
not laughing because
Like,
I'm sad.
because you have, like, if you read Lost Names, you have Haston, who
Mhm.
has a lot of
Husband's problems.
problems. You have Caius from Melancholia, who also has a lot of problems. And you're really good at doing that.
These are the
I know.
squad babies.
No, I have the answer. I know what I'm good at.
What?
I'm an excellent thief.
Oh, yes. You
Yeah,
steal other
but
people's
more than-
characters.
More than just that.
But no, I actually didn't consider that until right now. I do appreciate everything that you said first in regards to me writing characters, especially characters who have like issues that they're struggling to cope with, and that does mean a lot to me, especially someone who's read my work, that you would say that. But it didn't occur to me until like just this moment to be proud of the way that I handle other people's intellectual property.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're very respectful and you write.
It just never fucking crossed my mind. So yeah, there's some things in here. Max would like to announce that Caius is his son. I think Caius is all of our sons. It's true. Joe is not in here to reiterate how much Haston makes him uncomfortable, so I'm going to say that for Joe for when he watches this next. Also, I didn't realize that you had Mothman earrings.
Yes. They're
Y'all
I
don't
went-
get to see this because you're too far away, but Alexa has Mothman earrings.
I went to the Mothman Festival 2018 last year, and I got a lot of Mothman merch, and a touch that I just wanted to wear subtly, even though no one can see it, is a pair of Mothman earrings. They're wooden, and they have like the red eyes. So
Do they have eyes?
yes.
I didn't see the eyes. Oh, they do! They have like really tiny little eyes.
Mothman goes with me wherever I go.
You're blessed. Blessed by the booty. Should I do my draw? Because we're closing in to 10 minutes to the hour.
Why don't we do it on the hour?
Okay, we'll do the draw on the hour. That's
Okay.
valid.
I have questions if you have no.
Kirsten asks, what is the picture behind us?
It's crooked in the picture, but it's actually not crooked here.
Yeah, but the camera is crooked.
This is the world map of the game Hollow Knight.
It's a wonderful game.
Yes.
Beautiful. With a beautiful soundtrack.
We're all big fans of Hollow Knight on this couch. And this is a map of Hollow Knight, and it's got all the locations and stuff, and it's beautiful, and we love it.
If you see us at Anime Midwest, you might
Have an indication of how much we love Hollow
have
Knight.
an indication of how much we love that game.
But we're not going to.
Spoilers.
No.
As it says, what kind of advice would you offer to authors who aren't able or willing to be in social situations but want to do those things to be able to build their readership?
Join us in the Discord.
I mean, this is Azzy. She's already in the Discord.
No.
Make your more socially inclined friends do some of that legwork for you. That's one of the reasons why you have us, Azzy. That's one of the reasons why we're in a group together, is so all of us can help each other. It's hard when you're a person who doesn't like doing social shit, and you have to do social shit to get people to read your book. It's the worst.
A lot of my ideas come from Mouse because you are very exposed to Twitter. Therefore, like the giveaway,
Yes.
you have like a lot of marketing ideas that I don't think of. So
I have the advantage, or I did have the advantage, before your work became an actual hellscape. I work from home, and thus I have the most time wasted on the internet, which helps me to get some of these ideas. But yeah, it is what it is. We all try to help each other just to get word out a little bit every day. Kirsten says she uses that for exactly that purpose. Good job. That's exactly what you should do. Also, you can yell at me tomorrow if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but I'm doing my best. So yeah, questions? Are you gonna RNGesus us another
I'm
question?
gonna RNGesus us another question. Okay, number 14. What is the most important thing about a book in your opinion?
I'm not answering this first because I've done a lot of talking.
No, you have to answer it first because you answered the last one last.
I've done so much screaming.
You have to do it.
Most important thing in a book to me?
Yes.
Soul! You can tell when a book doesn't have a soul. You can read, and by soul, how do I put this? Not just that someone was impassioned to write it, but that someone was impassioned to make it the best that it can be. Because
there's a difference in quality between a book that's written as a cash grab and something that someone wanted to genuinely make because they wanted to share the story.
Even a book that's written where they jumped the gun on it. Because if you love something, you really do want to make it the best thing, the best version of itself. So you can take relatively simple stories, and I'm going to cite you here because you have novellas. The April Gladys books, Azalea's Witch in the Lighthouse.
I designed my books to be beach reads, so something you could just sit down in an afternoon with a couple of hours.
And they're not complicated stories. Witch in the Lighthouse isn't a complicated story. But even in such a small space, the effort is very clear and obvious. Larger projects, melancholy effect, you have more room to do that. But it doesn't matter how big or how small the project is. You can tell when it meant the world to somebody, and you can tell when they went the extra mile for this thing that they loved. And I think that's what sets something apart from everything else. Looking back now, I don't know that I would say it is the most important, but it's the most important to me.
That was the question.
I mean, no, okay. But I was gonna be like editing. No.
Alexa,
It's the most important to me.
what is the most important thing about a book in your opinion?
When I'm reading or when I'm writing?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, well. Being, oh jeez. I can usually tell when, like, I don't know. I can usually tell when I don't know.
I mean, we can
Well,
usually
'cause, like,
tell when you don't know.
I keep having a thought, but then I'm like, well, that can be subverted. Because, like, I was about to say, well, the character is relatable, but that can be subverted.
There are
because you
unrelatable
can have,
characters that are still great.
yeah, or having, like, I would say having everything in the book make sense and having it be a cohesive thing.
I think that's pretty damn critical to enjoying a book.
Yes, like having all of your elements affect each other and not having any, like, toss-aways.
You want your book to be a beautiful cake.
Yes.
You want everything to, like, meld nicely together and to complement each other.
You wouldn't want, like, a red velvet cake to have mustard on it, for example.
I hate toast, so I'm really upset
Okay.
now.
Having lemon bars have pickle relish.
As says I cry on my shirt. No, this is the best boy. This is the best boy. Praise the sun. It's not a crab. Although I did have a shirt with a crab on it because I had a huge layover in Baltimore at one point when I was visiting Ace. But I've lost my crab shirt because I wore it to work every single day because it said, "Don't bother me, I'm crabby." So yes. I think that's a very good answer. Cohesion and, like, a sense of wholeness.
Yeah. What about you, Ace?
No one will be surprised by my answer. Characters.
Characters is, like, your thing,
This
though.
is, like, in my opinion, characters are the most important because if you have a character-based book that has bad characters, you have nothing. If you have a plot-based book that has bad characters, I don't care. I can't get into your plot because I don't care about your characters.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that the people, that the characters are real, that someone in the book is relatable.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. It doesn't need to be everybody, but there should be somebody that you can connect with on an emotional level.
Well, like you were
in the
saying
plot.
before, it's hard to enjoy a book when all the characters have the same personality.
Yes.
Sound the same.
Yes.
Or when all of the characters are just fucking insufferable. I know people love Gatsby, but I hated every character in it. It's one of the few books I didn't finish in my life because I hated everybody.
I liked the atmosphere, but the characters are unlikable, but it is a classic.
Being a classic does not make it good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's a very valid thing. If you have a character-driven book with good characters, you have a good book. If you have a plot-driven book with good characters, you have a better book than if you didn't have good characters. I think that's very good. I think we have one more question because we have another question in chat before I do my draw. And Jamal says, "What other person's book do you wish you had written?" Did somebody get to jump on an idea before you did?
I don't really know. I don't know if I really have an answer for that.
Okay, so if you've ever played Soma, it is
Soma.
a PC game
Excellent.
where, well, I don't know how much to say without spoiling it. It's a game about robots and
That's
machines.
The sentence ends there. That's
And
where the spoilers are.
It questions a lot of aspects of humanity. And I had a character who I had designed long before I heard of Soma, And so when I played the game, I was like, oh crap, if I write this character, people are going to think, I was copying Soma. And I was like...
Also, don't ever... People do that all the time, where, like, you'll write somebody and then something famous will come out.
Mhm.
Every time, like, you're
Every
like, oh, I'm
time.
really working on this idea, and it's like, there's a blockbuster movie that's doing the exact same thing, whatever.
It doesn't matter. You'll do it differently than they do it.
I like to say you'll leave your thumbprint on everything that you do, your own personal flair.
Whatever that project is, you should write it.
Mhm.
Because I didn't like the ending of Soma. And I'm sure I would like the ending of your book better. But I think that's valid. I think everyone struggled with that at some point.
Mhm.
And not that Soma wouldn't have happened, but that you might have jumped on yours first.
Yeah. But there's always that, there's that feeling of unease, because we all hear stories about copyrights and people getting sued. But,
We are two broke lawyers.
I shouldn't be laughing.
You can laugh. We can laugh. Don't cry. Laughing is better than crying. Ace, is there something that was written that you wish you had written?
No, there is. Because all of the stuff I care about is like with our characters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that, like, all the stuff I want to write
Is very
is
specifically
very
Ace Layton Wad
specific.
flavored.
Yeah, my characters, your characters. I don't know. I don't really know that there's a book that I can put my finger on and do that.
I'm kind of in the same boat because there's a lot of books that I can credit with letting me enjoy ideas and to introducing me to ideas or archetypes or techniques and stuff. There's a lot of other people's works that I can appreciate for those things, but none of them are mine.
Mm-hmm. We
And
draw
none
a
of
lot
them
of
feel like
inspiration from.
Oh,
you
yeah.
draw a lot of inspiration from movies. Yeah.
Every time I do atmosphere research, it's always movies. Because I go, how can I make this feel this way? But everyone else's projects feel like them, and they don't feel like me. So they don't need to be mine.
Oh, I've got an answer.
What's the answer?
It's a book that hasn't been written yet.
I'm about to be called out. That's what that expression is.
No.
What?
It's Iron Gate.
You wish you could have written Iron Gate before I write Iron Gate. The reason I'm writing Iron Gate is because it's taking too long.
Exactly.
Iron Gate was supposed to be the sequel, and now it's the third book.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, Iron Gate is the third book in the Highway Horizons series.
But no, that's more of a joke, Nancy, because I think you do phenomenal things with that series. So
I'm gonna steal all your characters and write the Highway Horizons series. So we're still getting questions because
do your
let's
giveaway,
do the draw first,
and
and then
we'll hang out for another hour and do questions.
yeah, like
So-
we'll hang out for a little while longer. We were only gonna do this for an hour, but y'all are always in here being interested. So. Okay, beautiful picker wheel. Y'all don't get to see my picker wheel. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I have my list here.
What is this for?
This is for this. Beautiful, shiny new Ashen Path without the glare. It's got a new cover. It's got these
Illustrations.
beautiful chapter icons.
Chapter illustrations.
The book, the story is the same story for those of you who've read Ashen Path. But when I designed the original book cover, because I made that cover, it wasn't done with it being a 5-book series in mind. So in this way, it now has its subtitle on it, Book 1 of Highway Horizons, and it will mesh a lot better with its siblings when its siblings show up. And that's why there's this shiny re-release. Also, this one has page numbers, and I know there's a reprint section of Ashen Path books that didn't have page numbers. I don't know how that happened, but for a while, the Ashen Path books that we were ordering in just didn't have page numbers, but this one does. So yeah, someone's gonna win this, and I will either ship it to them and or hand it to them with my human hands, depending on where they are. And chat is doing things, so I'm gonna quickly check those. Okay.
Do your giveaway?
Giveaway. Click to spin.
We're spinning.
Oh! That's a good thing you asked if she could enter. Guess who wins this? I have her on my entry wheel as Proto Kirsten, because I didn't know her surname. But yeah,
You
congrats.
get that tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll just give it to you tomorrow when I see you, and you can save me the shipping cost. So yeah, thank you guys for entering. Thank you for everybody for entering, because I got more entrants than I thought I was going to have. And I was super hyped, and I genuinely wanted every single person to win. So I'm really excited. For those of you who didn't win, this is available now. It exists. If you want a shiny new Ashen Path, you can get one. If you want an old Ashen Path, I still have some for sale. We'll be using those at cons until we run out.
Keep the first editions of everything that we make so that when we're rich and famous.
Because I've already had 2 re-releases because somebody doesn't plan well for the future.
In the strange
me.
alternate dimension where we become rich and famous.
Yeah, we become rich and famous. So yeah, we'll give you that tomorrow. We've had some questions in the meantime. Max says I've read that book 4 times. Max, no one made you do it, so I'm gonna assume that means you like it. Questions?
I looked over to your screen just to see you stroking
that book. No, it's a good book. It deserves it. As he asked, do you think an extensive knowledge of tropes is necessary to be a good writer?
Well, I mean, it's always like, if you've ever been on tropes, like TV tropes, then you'll know the feeling of having a million tabs open, because you just like relating characters to which trope is, like out there. But it's also nice to know tropes so that you can subvert them. So
that's what I was gonna say. I don't think it's necessary by any means, but knowing tropes can help inform you of which tropes you want to avoid in your work.
And I don't know that extensive is necessary. I think having an idea of tropes is great because it gives you an idea of the building blocks that you're working with. It also helps you lead your readers because a lot of readers know tropes without knowing they know tropes.
Yeah.
So you can set things up for them in ways that they'll understand it just automatically. So some knowledge of them I do think is essential, but it doesn't necessarily have to be extensive. You just want to know what you're working with and how to get the most mileage out of it. Very quick question. That says, are all of us going to be at the party tomorrow?
Yes.
yes.
Yes. I'm bringing lemon squares. We will be at your party tomorrow. Do you think? Webby asks, accents for characters. Do you think it helps the universe come alive, or does it create a barrier to entry?
This is written accents. Right?
Written phonetic accents in text.
I've read like a lot of. While I was in college, I was taking like an English, like an actual England literature class. And so they had like a lot of Irish accents. And sometimes if they were trying really hard to write a heavy accent, it's just hard for people to understand.
If you're a person who hasn't listened to a lot of Irish accents, phonetic Irish accents are impossible to decipher.
I would say 90% of the time it's a barrier.
I agree. I do think it can be done well in a way that enhances the universe, like you asked. But I think that a lot of the time it gets in the way. I love how I have reflection like immediately in my eyeballs. I think that authors need to be really careful with phonetic accents. Generally.
You can do it. It's very easy to do badly, and then you risk your readers putting your book down because they can't understand what your characters are saying.
The
Some
first
lingo
draft
is okay.
That's actually a brilliant idea in that instead of doing phonetic accents, by looking at your vocabulary, you can imply an accent because of the way certain regions use language. What I was going to say was that draft 1, or the original version of Odd, had phonetic accents.
Yes.
You'll notice that they don't have it anymore because we decided against putting phonetic accents in to make it more readable. I don't know what Max is commenting on, but he just said something like an anime villain, and whatever you're commenting on, I think that's goals for all of us.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, whatever that was, we're
anime.
really happy that that's what it looked like.
We all have our favorite anime villains here.
Actually, yeah, let's do that question. Favorite anime villain.
Ooh.
Maximilian Pegasus.
That's an excellent question. Excellent answer. You were also the person who told me that my villain for Stone Coast sounds like Maximilian Pegasus.
And he's my favorite anime
So,
villain, so.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited.
Okay, this is gonna be a little weird, but if you've ever seen the anime School Days, the main guy is a dick.
Is he
my
supposed to be a
favorite.
villain?
Like, yes, because he generally winds up doing like things on purpose.
Max clarified that it's the reflection thing in my glasses. That makes me look like a villain. So I'm just gonna sit here and be Genji. Where's the fucking reflection here? There we go. Shinji, get in the robot. That's a very interesting answer.
What's yours?
Mine?
Yeah.
Trish Kishranada.
Okay, slowly.
His name is Trish Kishranada.
Okay.
And he's one of my anime husbands. And you'll meet him
What's
when I
he
make
from?
you suffer through Gundam Wing.
He's from Gundam Wing.
He's my favorite anime villain. He's a colonialist bastard, but that's fine. Whatever, I love him anyways. He's great. I don't even care. Dustin says that he enjoyed school. They said it was pretty funny.
Okay.
I haven't seen it.
It starts off like this light and happy anime, and then the characters just start making the stupidest decisions.
Did it
just-
frustrate you? Because that's what this
It
is.
frustrated me because like the person who I liked was basically being stomped on the most, and everyone else just drove me insane. And I have such a love-hate relationship with that anime because I keep coming back to it.
And it keeps making
And
you
it
angry.
keeps making me angry.
Jamel asks, least favorite book.
Mm.
What is your least favorite book that you've read? Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that that's kind of a hard question to answer because
Mhm.
generally speaking, if you don't like a book, you don't
That's the problem.
stick through and read the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they tend to be more forgettable, I think,
Yes.
than like favorite books, because favorite books you read and then you reread.
You know what?
So we'll just answer this to the best of our abilities.
Okay. This is going to be somewhat controversial.
I'm ready.
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't like Twilight. I will admit that it got a lot of people into reading, and I respect that. Like, it has a very accessible, like,
You can
style.
respect something and still hate it.
Yeah. My problem with it, though, is that the relationship between Bella and Edward is borderline abusive. So
you can
it
remove
gives,
the borderline. There's no controversy.
It
there.
is abusive, and what concerns me is that it's giving a lot of young women
I think that's fair criticism.
like unreliable expectations for what they can get out of a relationship and what is abusive and what is not abusive.
You can respect
So-
the thing that something's done and still think that thing is inherently flawed.
Mhm.
The example I was going to give was Beach Boys. Beach Boys did a lot for like revolutionizing the way like music was done, and I also hate every single one of the songs. But like you can still, Twilight got a lot of people to read.
Mhm.
Also, it's bad. Like
Mhm.
that's that is winning all the points today. That's anything by Aaron Rand. anything, all of it. Excellent choice. Ace.
I have no idea.
I'm trying to think. Whatever
I just
book,
stopped reading books, so
whatever book,
when they.
Azalea is editing. No, I'm joking. I only get to hear the bad parts because that's what you complain about when you're editing. And hopefully that will make her laugh when she listens to this because she's at work. But no, something that I hated. I didn't like Gatsby because I didn't like anybody in Gatsby. But I read that like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it would have had to been something in high school for me.
Max, you're brilliant. You know this, but you're also brilliant. Max's Time Paradox from Art of the Spell.
Oh yeah,
The Art of the Spell series is 3 books long.
that could serve as an answer for me too.
That's the hill I will die on. The Art of the Spell series is 3 books long. anything after that doesn't exist.
I think I only read up to 3 books.
That's it. There's no
That's
other
it.
ones. That's it. There's
Gotcha.
Artemis Fowl, there's Arctic Incident, there's Eternity Code, and there's no more. That's the whole series. But yeah, Max, fucking spot on. What else? I think.
Questions? You need more questions?
I mean, yes, you can. You can do more questions. I was trying to think of other things that I didn't like, but nothing's coming to mind. Oh, Jack asks, things you hated at one point that you liked more upon like a second viewing.
That's a good.
Mary Sue's.
That's an excellent answer.
Because, like, I grew up in the age where Mary Sue's was, like, ostracized. There was
The
a
witch hunt
stigma. Yeah, the witch hunt age. As I get older, like, I begin to recognize that Mary Sue's, like, one of the reasons that they're created is so that people can have, like, a power fantasy. Like, a lot of them are power fantasies. If you think about it, Batman and Bruce Wayne is a Gary Stu. Because everything works for him. Yeah, he has a dark, gritty backstory, but all of his plans wind up working. He has a lot of people who, like, will argue with him on points, but he almost always wins. His entire, like, arc is a power fantasy, but I love Batman. Like, that's one of my favorite comic, like, book villains.
I would say that a Mary Sue, though it shouldn't be something that is hunted down, it is a trope.
Yeah.
And it should be applied responsibly.
Mm.
So you can have Mary Sue characters that are well done and that you enjoy and that serve a purpose in driving the story.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also have characters who don't mesh with their universe.
Mm-hmm.
And who feel forced or unnatural.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I think that's a very interesting answer.
Mm-hmm.
Outlines. For years and years and years, I never used outlines because I was one of those people who felt like if I did an outline, that was like writing the whole book,
Mm-hmm.
and then I didn't want to write the book. Turned out I was just using the wrong kind of outlines. And ever since using them, like, it's helped my work grow, and it just makes everything so much easier. You avoid so many edits.
Mhm.
You catch so many things before they become problems, like plot holes and things. And it's one of those things that, like, when I was first writing, like, all of my drafts, I never used outlines. But now, like, if I'm going to write a book, I won't not use an outline.
My answer isn't a literary device, unlike the other two. It's an actual body of work, which is kind of what I think might have been the intent, but you guys are too clever for that. But I also can't think of any other very thoughtful literary devices to cite. So I'm going to say the Star Wars prequels.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah, because they are stories with a lot of flaws.
Yep.
And almost any casual Star Wars fan can tell you a laundry list of things that are wrong with them. And they're right. Like, there's a lot wrong with them. But I really appreciate how they expanded the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
They made it more colorful. They made it more in-depth. I love the focus on politics.
I love the
I love the machinations of it. So yeah, like, I actually really do like the prequels. I don't necessarily know that I like them for the reasons they were meant to be liked.
Yeah.
But they're also the stories that introduced me to young Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's an excellent character. Clone Wars, the animated series, introduces me to the best version of Anakin, who's superbly well written compared to the movies. But you get a lot more out of that era, I think, going into it after you've already seen it. Because we've already seen it, you're more caught up in how the things are badly done. Because, to be fair, they're kind of glaring.
Have you heard of the Jar Jar Binks Sith Lord theory?
Yes.
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 That is the one that intrigues me the most, and apparently, like, one of the writers implied that there might be something to it.
I'm not worried about it. Because if it was or wasn't going to happen, it's not the canon now.
That ship is sailed, yeah.
So I have enough things to be concerned with. As he tried to make a broken heart for Qui-Gon and misspelled his name. No, Qui-Gon's rad. I love him. That says, what are your feelings on Manic Pixie Dream Girls?
Manic Pixie Dream Girls.
That's quite the face you're making, Alexa.
Ugh.
I don't want to answer this first because I'm the person who says the most fucking
I
words.
have no idea what that even.
So, okay.
Ramona Flowers.
The thing that pops into my head right away is a movie called Elizabethtown, starring Orlando Bloom and Kirsten Dunst.
That sounds like a thing that might have existed.
But like, it's the story. I think Manic Pixie Dream Girl is like the guy is kind of stuck in a rut in life, you know, like things seem repetitive. He feels smothered, and then the natural wild girl will come in and liven things up.
What's her name?
Yes, but there's no romantic connection there, which makes it interesting.
Yeah.
That is, he's like, is Fooly Cooly a Manic Pixie Dream Girl story? I'm like, kind of.
Yeah.
So my opinion on Manic Pixie Dream Girls is that I think it's a perfectly valid character archetype if it's written for itself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have a Manic Pixie Dream Girl and have her be fantastic and hilarious. I think the downfall is that she's always written to fix a dude.
Yeah.
And that makes everything boring.
And part of the reason I was making that face is basically I agreed with what Mouse just said. Also, the Manic Pixie Dream Girl, there's no development. It's a very one-dimensional character.
Because the story's never about her.
Uh-huh.
Give me a Manic Pixie Dream Girl who, like, either looks at her manic pixiness and decides that maybe she does need to tone into reality a little bit more, or have her be like, no, I'm going to continue doing the thing that I'm doing because I think it is best for me and it positively impacts my life. But where she has some kind of introspection, where she might have some kind of growth. But yeah, turn her into more of
have her be a human being.
Yeah, but I don't think it's bad on its own.
Yeah.
I think it's perfectly valid. It's just, don't write girls to fix men.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's lazy. But yeah, we can do other questions from the R and Jesus list. If you see us being distracted and looking down, it's because the cat's right there.
We have a Dewey. You cannot see the Dewey, but the Dewey is
Hi,
there.
creature.
Kind of like in life. Dewey watches over us all.
She wants to be in my lap is where she wants to be, so that's not going to happen.
Which of your novels best describes you as a person?
Oh, God.
I only have one.
No. We'll do novels that are out and novels that are planned.
I would say Odd.
I mean, I agree that Odd is a great book for you. I think it very much deals with things that are important to you. I'm not going to answer this question for you. Keep going.
I don't know. I don't know exactly why. It's just kind of gut feeling.
Well, that was one of your first forays.
It was.
Like.
I don't know.
Do you want to think on it?
Yeah.
While we answer?
Yeah.
Okay, so the April Gladys dog walking series is based on, basically, I was a dog walker in Chicago. April is based on a lot of my experiences, but she's a different person than what I am. But I also wrote a lot of dog and cat cameos in the books. But honestly, like, as I was writing the Mothman book, I mean, anyone who's known me from Discord knows that I'm obsessed with Mothman for a lot of different reasons. But I felt like this is my first serious horror project. And I like studying horror and I like studying fear. So this is my first chance to really start playing with like fear.
With heavier materials.
Yeah, with heavier materials.
I don't know.
I have my answer for odd.
Oh yeah, do it.
So I picked odd, and anyone who's read odd will know that two of the main people in it are Kieran, who's kind of happy, relaxed, best boy.
Kieran is the most
He has
useless
no
boy.
special abilities. He's just kind
He's
of a
just
layabouts.
a really nice guy.
And then you have Cass, who's very different. She's academic. She doesn't care about, like, she's very socially much an introvert, and would rather read books than deal with people. And I think to me, those two are basically me distilled into two halves of a person. Because I am very introverted, and I am very, like, I don't like dealing with
You have a person
social
battery, and
situations.
it will run out very quickly.
But at the same time, when you put me around friends, I become more like Kieran, who's happy and like wants his friends to be happy, and I think and that wasn't something I tried to do.
That makes it really hilarious whenever someone mentions to me that they're intimidated by you. because
They're intimidated of the Cass side.
like you're really chill. So it's super
yes,
funny.
yeah.
It's so funny. No, if you're gonna be scared of any of us, be afraid of Alexa.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't lurk in the woods at night.
I mean, just close the door when you come back. But no, I think that's a valid answer, is that those two characters specifically like speak to deep parts of your soul. I was also gonna cite the fact that it has no romantic subplot.
Yes.
That it's a straight up adventure novel written about friendship.
Mm-hmm.
It also has a huge cast of people who mean a lot to you.
Yep.
What
about you?
I don't fucking know. Which book is the most me?
Yeah.
God. I'm not sure. I'm really...
I would almost say the Melancholia Project.
Yeah, I could say that. I could say Lost Names.
Mm-hmm.
Lost Names is kind of the one that was on the top of my mind. But I don't know if I want Lost Names to be the one that is the closest one to me. Anyone who's read Lost Names is my only 18+ book, and it is some heavy shit.
I felt like Melancholia Project was the one that reminded me of you the most, because that was kind of like
really cute.
Well, that was a passion project of yours. That was you wanting to write the characters. Also, it's a bunch of people coming together as a family who aren't blood related.
And as he says Lost Names, and I don't know that I like your vote, Azzy. I like your vote better. I think that says better things about me as a human. No, Azzy, like, I don't think that's wrong. Because you're right, Melancholia does speak to a lot of themes that are really important to me. But Lost Names really doesn't spare any punches when it comes to, like, Oliver's anxiety, or Haston's trauma, or the importance of friends, or heartache and friendship. Which, I mean, you're not wrong to say that that's kind of me as a person. But no, I guess it's funny how none of the lighter books come out. But no, either of those I think are perfectly valid answer. I would love if I was the kind of person. I want my answer. I want to grow into the kind of person that feels the way Ashen Path feels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of thought about that writing the book, is because I kind of want to grow into being the same kind of person that Karan is. But I think that's where I'm at. I'm at somewhere between Melancholia and Lost Names, and I want to grow in
You're
to
too
be
salty to be Karan.
the Ashen Path of person. I'm mostly Simon. I can't be Karan because I'm too busy being salty, and that makes me Simon. But yeah, so I think that's where I'm at. So that's my goal, is I want to grow into that feeling.
It's a good goal.
I like it. But that was an excellent question. I like that. But that was one of yours.
Yes.
I really liked it. That was a good find.
Let's see here. Oh, it's not stopping.
Also, if anyone is curious and like has questions, throw them up in the
this is
chat.
still a Q&A, so do what you gotta do.
Is there a particular kind of attire you like to write in?
Okay, so for the longest time, and Ace can attest to this.
I
You saw
see
me.
it. I could have done
You've
it.
seen it. I don't like my own writing, and while I'm writing, I have been known to cover myself with a blanket so that I can't see the screen.
Oh, this is accurate.
And I will just type typos and everything without seeing it. And that's kind of the reason why I like voice to text as well, because I can't see the words until I come back to it later. So, yes, the blanket is my attire.
Just the blanket.
Just the blanket.
So I think I have two different answers for this.
Okay.
What are you laughing
I don't know. I'm curious what your answers are.
I like writing in my pajamas on the couch. And I'm very lucky that I get to do that most of the time because I work from home. But I'm also super productive when we go places to write.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like when we go to Z's Night of Writing Dangerously. So I've become, like, there's a shortcut in my brain that says, I don't know what this is doing. There's a shortcut in my brain that says, square glasses, binder, button-up shirt means that it's time to write.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like this puts me in and mouse mode. But I prefer, emotionally, when I can sit on the couch in my pajamas.
I like to lay on the floor when I write.
Under a blanket,
Under a blanket.
in your boxers.
With no pants on.
Really, we can all say that our best work is done without pants.
We are not a fan of pants. Like, there was a section before this live stream started where we all separately had to go put pants on because we really didn't want to wear pants and we haven't worn them all day. So yeah, so all the equations involve no pants. You got some really neat questions.
I know, I found some good ones.
They're so good.
Let's see. Numbers. How do you think your writing style has changed over the years?
Max, are you still in chat? Can you answer this for me?
Me?
Yeah, because I keep talking so much.
Oh, my style.
I can tell you how your style's changed, but that's not the point.
Well, darn, I can't cheat.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay, so a couple of different things. One is I used to write a lot in passive voice. Like had was one of my most common words. So since I've taken writing classes and kind of read my own books, I started consciously trying to move away from a passive voice to a more dynamic voice.
I think that's a very fair thing.
The second thing is I found recently the first fan fiction that I ever wrote. It was a Zelda fan fiction and it's hand drawn and handwritten. And I want to make a Twitter post about it because I think of it as not mine. I think of it as like a little Alexa and a separate person. It belongs to baby
Alexa.
It belongs to baby Alexa. So I look at it and go, oh, this is cute.
That's hysterical. I always marvel over, you're not the only one who does this, because he has this too, where you can dig up these old files that you find in places.
Mm-hmm.
But I've burnt out laptops and I've moved a lot and I had a house fire and then I moved to America and I just don't have things from past me as a writer. So I always really marvel when you're like, oh, I found this old Zelda fanfic. I'm like, did you? That's amazing!
Well, okay. From where you are now, if you go back to Melancholy Project, how do you feel about...
I'll get to that in a second. He is
Okay.
Me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of skipped in before you.
do it.
Yeah, look at me like that. That helps.
You know,
Oh.
I have an old manuscript
No,
of
no, we're not.
here.
Alexa's been threatening to show me this manuscript for at least a year now.
It's terrible. We're not gonna
Once
talk
I
about
find it,
We're not going to talk about it.
I know the general
Um,
vicinity where it is.
I stole it back years ago. I would say I have gotten better at distancing myself from my characters. Would be one of the things, because like we all have parts of us in our characters.
Mhm.
But I think I've gotten better at making my characters more nuanced. And what's the other thing? Better at handling description, even though I'm still terrible at it.
I'm going to interject that you've gotten better at handling description. It still gives you trouble.
Yes.
Because saying you're terrible at it means it's terrible when like I read it and it's not. But it
Yes.
still gives you trouble.
Mhm.
Can you say that? Is
Yes.
that more fair?
And it's never like I can't describe things. It's how do I describe things without dumping
Mhm.
everything?
I was actually going to say, if I can remark on something you've improved on, your pacing has improved dramatically.
Yes. Yes. I would agree with that.
Yeah, you've gotten your pace is excellent. And like Melancholy Effect is a perfect example of a very well-paced
Mhm.
project.
Mhm.
Especially when compared to Project, because
Yeah.
Project is kind of longer and meandering, and Melancholy Effect is here's the story, and it's perfectly tense, and like you did a phenomenal job.
Mhm.
So your pacing
Thank
is gotten a lot better.
Thank you.
You, well, actually, both of you could dream of really fantastic settings and really fantastic like locales, and you both can describe a place in just enough words and in just enough imagery to make that come alive in your reader's mind.
But you want to know what I fucking can't do?
Hmm.
I can't write contemporary.
Oh,
I can't do it. My brain falls out. I can't fucking do it. But you write contemporary. Your murder mystery is contemporary.
yeah.
But I can't do that because I die. So
A lot of my horror stuff is contemporary too.
most of your work so far has been, which to me is a marvel because usually I don't give a damn about contemporary, and your contemporary is always great.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm allergic to it, and it makes me want to die. So yeah. So
How about you?
my work has gotten more queer.
I think all of our
I've-
works have gotten
That's
more
fair
queer.
to say about all of us.
I've improved the queerness of my work.
Plus two are
um,
queer.
I've improved the queerness of myself along the way. But I'm not actually sure what I'm better at. I do know, like, for example, Melancholia could have benefited from more structure when I was writing it. But I don't know that I've improved from, like, Ashen Path, because Ashen Path structure is pretty good, actually. So I think Melancholia suffers from having been a web novel. So it is shaped differently as a book, and I don't know that it's a good thing to mark my growth off of because it's my weird redheaded stepchild of a book. I love it just the same though. I'm not trying to hate on my work because I'll get yelled at if I do that. So I'm
slapped if you do that.
I get slapped. You have to ask Alexa to slap me, or you can reach across Alexa to slap me.
You.
Air slap.
Mail me a slap. But I'm not sure. I know where I want to improve. Because I think I'm good at coming up with concepts, but I think I can still do a lot to improve in how I get those concepts translated to my readers. I think Jack is prepared to yell if I say bad things about my work.
Oh.
So don't yell. Don't do it, because also I'll get slapped. So don't. You don't even have to yell. It's fine. Also, no, Webby, I don't have anything against redheads.
Oh.
So yeah, my answer is a boring non-answer just because I can't. I would love to be able to answer the question, but nothing comes to mind. That asks favorite music to write to. These are excellent questions tonight.
That depends on what I'm working on.
That's fair.
Sometimes it will be a playlist that I've created for the specific book, like Clearest Blue is like that a lot. There's specific songs that I've put on the playlist that just kind of eludes either the feel of the characters in the scene or the book itself. Other than that, I can't, unless I'm writing to one of those playlists, I can't write to music with words.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be words you've specifically chosen, or
Yes.
there's not allowed.
So a lot of the time I'll just default to like piano focus music. I'll go on Spotify and find a focus playlist and put that on. I also do a lot of writing to like a lot of epic music, which is like Two Steps from Hell and that kind of stuff.
Two Steps from Hell is a big writing favorite for a lot of people, for good reason.
So I also like can't write to a lot of music with lyrics because it distracts me.
I'm distracting you right now.
This is going to be the interpretive dance section of the WOD chat. So I will also, well, okay, so when I'm writing or editing, I either listen to video game music or I listen to a lot of ambient tracks. Like I will listen to Rainy Mood, or I will just listen to, like, when I'm writing horror, I'll listen to Haunted Woods ambience.
Do you listen to old Silent Hill soundtracks?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I was hoping that was going to be a thing.
Go on YouTube
Not
and
the new ones.
look up Silent Chill, because people have made playlists of all of like the chill Silent Hill
Oh, nice.
stuff.
That's phenomenal.
Silent Chill. It is awesome.
What, Max? Do you know about this? Max, you need to know.
But okay, it's funny because when I'm driving in the car, I'll be listening to, you know, just the top 40s station, and suddenly this song will come up. And it's like the contemporary song matches or like this character or the mood of this character. And that'll spring up on me. So when I'm thinking about the character and like developing them, that's when I listen to stuff with lyrics. But if I'm like trying to be productive, then I get distracted by lyrics. So it has to be.
I'm usually kind of the same way. I'm not as bad if I pick the song deliberately and I know like what song it is. But also there's times where I do that and then I really like the song and I just sing it and I don't write. What was I gonna say? One of the things I listen to, you know what Spotify does the year-end roundup and it tells you the thing you listen to most?
Yes.
So last year when I was writing, y'all want to know the CD I was listening to most? This OST.
I remember you putting that on Twitter.
I was like, hello. So I listened last year to a lot of Hollow Knight while I was writing. But I also I make book playlists and I make character playlists. I am a notorious playlist person. I have playlists for tons of characters and they're full of music. And I have playlists for most of my book projects. What is my hair doing? So I think one of the interesting things that's really weird for me is Stone Coast is a medieval fantasy with a romance subplot. And its music is all electronic music. Because all of these songs are like really ambiently adventure sounding and all the lyrics are really great. And it's just okay, cool, fine, this is my life now. But yeah, I tend to have daydream playlists for when I'm planning shit, and I tend to have writing playlists. I have a group, like a folder on Spotify that's working playlists. And there's this soundtrack, there's the soundtrack to Jet Set Radio Future under there. There's a couple of musicals, Hunchback of Notre Dame is on there. What was the other one I was going to bring up? I don't remember. But yeah, so back, like, video game music for sure.
Also, okay, a future project is going to take place in a carnival, and the carnival is in Louisiana. So whenever I'm plotting for that project, I have on blues or
You know what you should listen to?
bluegrass or jazz. What?
Hadestown.
Hadestown.
It's a musical.
I'm writing that down.
You'll Jack introduced it to me. It will give you the feels I think that you want. It's got some really
Making a note.
bluegrassy kind of stuff going on. You obviously probably can't listen to it while you're writing because it's got words. But I think it'll be good daydream music for you.
Yeah.
question that I would like to get to.
Oh, okay. And then Jamal has a question too, so we'll do this one. Jamal, I see
Given
you.
the recent Twitter controversies, how do you approach diversity in your work?
Ooh. Someone answer this is not me.
Okay, so one of the things that kind of got me into thinking more about diversity in my works was hearing the stories of people, of maybe a different like race than me or a different religion than me, lamenting the fact that they didn't feel like their stories were welcome because they had ideas that were, different from like mainstream or, the popular likes. And that broke my heart because that shouldn't be a thing. Like, people should feel like they should feel open to sharing their stories, even though it's, like different. So that made me kind of look to my own stuff and go, okay, am I making every character a cis white male? Which,
Actually,
isn't a bad.
Specifically, we should include allo cis white male because we have at least 2 arrows sitting on the couch. So, just to make sure that we're covering all of our queer races. Anyways.
So that kind of, had me branch out. And when I did, I found like worlds were open to me, like I could draw from this.
Isn't it so strange that by making your world more inclusive of people, you then get more people to work with?
But something to remember is like if you're writing like a character who comes from a different background, you almost always want to find somebody from that background to sensitivity read your work, to make sure that you're not writing a bunch of stereotypes that might harm those people down the line.
Yeah, you don't want to, and you never know what you might fuck up, so you might as well have somebody check your work. Do you want to answer before I ramble?
Yeah, I might ramble a bit too, but so a lot of my kind of diversity is a lot of queer stuff.
Which partially comes from you writing a lot of like higher fantasy, so you don't deal with a lot of contemporary race things. I just figured
it kind of goes back to the thing we've talked about before, where like I don't try and make the stories about that because that is not my background, and I don't think that's necessarily my story to tell. And also, there's a lot of stories out there already that are written by people of that background that are about like the experience of being trans or the experience of being bi or
I'm gonna build off that and say there's a difference between including diverse and like inclusive characters and between trying to tell their stories
yes
as though it's yours. And you can have a diverse cast without doing that.
At the same time, I don't necessarily like go out of my way to make like I don't sit down and go, I need a gay character. I have characters and they have different backgrounds. They, some are bi, some are gay, some are lesbian, some are black, some are and that's just it comes up as when I'm creating them. So when I put them in a book, it's not necessarily it's not an afterthought. It's not something that something that really bothers me is the other side of things, when you have a book that doesn't handle those things well, they have a diverse cast, but it's a diverse cast for the brownie points.
Because it doesn't feel right.
Yes.
Like it feels insincere.
And I don't ever want, like, yes, give me queer books of queer people going on adventures. Absolutely. But don't just have a queer character to just say that you have a queer character. That's insulting, and that's a way to get me heated.
Can I point out something slightly more humorous than the question?
Yes.
Because you create your characters ahead of time, and because you usually have an idea of their orientation ahead of time, that brings up a situation like your Wild series that's going to
Yes.
be started. Can you possibly allude to where I'm going with this? Possibly what we call the Wild
The
series.
Wild
as a
series we call Danger Bisexuals
it's just the Danger Bisexual series.
because it's a lot of mercenaries and they're in this fantasy world, and because of the context that they're in, all of these characters don't, like, a lot of them are bi. Almost all of them are bi.
It just
And
happened
it
that
just-
way.
You collected all these people and you were like, every single one of
And
your
that's
main
okay.
cast.
And that's okay.
It's just because of the way you structured your explanation about
Yes.
creating characters ahead of time and the way that you put together. I mean, it's like that.
But yeah,
very funny
it's one of
when it
those
works out.
things that, like, I don't specifically sit down and go, okay, this character's going to be Ace.
Mhm.
It's almost always
This
I have
character
these
is
feels
Ace and
right
you're
for
going
them.
in the story.
Yeah.
yes.
Most of everything that I was going to say has been touched on, in that you can have a diverse cast without trying to tell stories that might not be yours to tell. One of the best ways to do it is by having these characters already at least kind of fleshed out. We're all character-driven writers, so we all start usually with characters. And by having those characters already there, those things tend to be more well incorporated and they tend to be more nuanced when they enter the story. So that's
I wanted
most
to add
of what I was going to say.
something else. It's a little bit different writing something in a fantasy setting because, like, you have a blank slate with which you can, like, throw in as much, diversity and variety that you want. One thing that I run into as a contemporary, or, someone who's written a lot of contemporary stuff, I have fantasy worlds. And I've noticed that in my contemporary stuff, I need to, like, have an ear towards how things might come across.
Absolutely,
Because
it's different if I'm writing, like in Highwind, there's lots of different immigrant populations. And there really isn't a lot of strain between people who moved to Highwind and people who have grown up in Highwind. Because culturally it's not really there, and also, like, it's a very prosperous place, so there really isn't a need for a lot of strain. So even when I can't say that because that's a spoiler. You know what I was gonna say. I can't say it because it's a spoiler.
Yeah.
So I get a pretty much free pass to write people of whatever color that I desire, and not have to deal with a lot of prejudice. But you're writing contemporary, and you have a lot more to deal with on that front. So you, like, having people to check over your work is really important.
Because not everything is in a vacuum.
No.
In fact, nothing is in a vacuum.
And actually, that's fair to say, that even though I am writing fantasy, I want to make sure that I'm not pulling from, like, real life bigotry, or doing those things badly. But we're probably gonna wrap up in a couple minutes, so we've got a couple of chat questions.
Sure.
Okay, so we're gonna try and do this quick. Do you have a favorite trope or a top 3 that you love including in your writing?
Okay. Enemies falling in love. Foyer is what the trope is called.
I love both.
That is my guilty pleasure. And
Why are you guilty about it?
That is one of my all-time favorite tropes, because there's a lot really interesting dynamics to explore, like with two opposing forces. And it's like, okay, if you've ever seen, like, the Venture Brothers, one of the characters is like, yeah, having two enemies, you're thinking about each other all the time. It's based on obsession. Don't you think that's so romantic? That's exactly how I feel about it.
That's an excellent answer.
I
know your answer. If you don't know your answer.
What is it?
Strong ladies.
Yeah, that's what I was
You
gonna
like
say.
your ladies to be buff. And I mean, not necessarily like the
Buff,
nuanced
yeah.
kind of, because we always have the discussion about how to write nuanced female characters, because women are people too. But yeah, you like your ladies buff.
Strong, yeah.
A lot of, like, very feminine characters can be strong. Actually, if you've ever seen Game of Thrones, Sansa Stark, she, like, starts off as, like, the airheaded.
Starts off as 14.
Yes, but like, not a whole lot of people like her at the start of the series because she makes teenage decisions. But then
she's 14.
because she's 14, and then like she discovers her own strength as the series goes on, and so it's that transformation that really appeals to me and what I would call a strong female character, strong lady character. But buff ladies are awesome, so we need more buff ladies.
But also buff ladies.
You answered for me. Can I answer for you?
Yeah.
I got 2.
Go for it.
Power of friendship.
Oh, I mean, I'll take it. I'm here for the power of friendship. Okay.
The power of friendship and families that aren't related by blood.
Oh, none of these were nearly as, like...
Bad as you thought.
No, not bad. I thought I was going to get roasted.
No!
I'll roast myself in a minute. But yes, I really do. I love power of friendship. I love found families. I'm here for all of that. You don't get any bonus points for guessing why, because I think it's really obvious. I don't hide my baggage well. But yes, that's fair to answer, and I'm glad that you said them. And I'm going to out myself here, and I'm going to say Pretty Boys. Pretty Boys. I love me some anime Pretty Boys. Karan and Haston.
Oh, I know another one.
And
really charismatic villains.
It can be the most stereotypical villain, and still there's something about them.
If they've got personality, I love it.
Like the shiny glasses villains, those kind.
Like me.
Yeah.
I am the shiny glasses villain. Yeah. But yeah, so roast myself and I'll say girly boys. I love really charismatic villains. I don't have a lot of them in books yet.
Yeah.
Don't worry, they're coming.
I would also add, I actually like non-humanoid characters.
I'm going to interject very quickly, and I'm going to say, Webby says, yeah, pretty boys. And Webby, you are a pretty boy. Like, I don't... we can celebrate you. We can do it, but...
I like intelligent monsters. Like, they always come across as, like, if I'm watching a movie with a monster that can communicate or has motivations apart from slasher or apart from just devouring people, I'm drawn to those types of characters.
So you're saying the person on this couch who really likes cryptids really likes intelligent monsters? That's what you're telling me.
Yes.
My mind is blown. Okay, we have like 2 minutes left.
We have more questions.
We do. We have 2 questions. So we're gonna try to answer both of these, which means you guys have to stop being clever.
Okay.
Because we're only gonna answer these 2 that we have. So let's do the quick one first. The quick one is favorite movie or TV adaptation of a book. Coraline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Across the board.
You can't pick the same one as me.
What do you mean?
No, you can pick
Of
the
a
same
book?
One. Movie or TV adaptation of a book. There's other answers I think we should also
Coraline.
think. Coraline's really good.
Okay.
I will watch Coraline every day.
I liked Lord of the Rings. Yeah, there are some glaring faults in it, but I grew up.
I would
like,
say Lord of the Rings, but I've never read the books, so.
I did read them, and honestly, I really do like the movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Z has stronger opinions on this than we do. But no, that's a valid choice. We're not talking about Hobbit. We're talking about Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
To be clear, because Hobbit's its own issue. But I really love Coraline. I really do.
What's
really
yours?
Coraline.
Coraline? Okay.
Because it's great. So, we're going to finish off on a slightly more serious question that Jack said. Dustin agrees that the Lord of the Rings adaptations are great. And honestly, I think they did a great job with them. Do contemporary tragedies or issues inspire your work, or do you consciously draw from them in any way?
So, as a contemporary writer.
As the only contemporary writer on this couch.
Okay, so one of the things that comes to mind immediately is in the future I am planning a contemporary gay paranormal dating sim. And this is in a world this is is in a world where magic is starting to become public knowledge, and people are starting to like look at what humanity means and what the rights of some of these supernatural creatures are. Like vampires, it's argued, if they're clinically dead, do they have human rights?
Yes.
So it's questions like that. Also, one of the characters is a, you know, gay Christian or like a gay chaplain. So it's him like thinking, is like homophobia a thing that's more important than gargoyles running in the streets? Should we be dealing with those first, or?
Did you write this character because you were angry about Dream Daddy?
Yes. A very specific daddy and Dream Daddy made me mad, so this character.
But yeah, fair and valid.
So,
as a contemporary writer, I think that is a very important thing.
Mhm.
I would say not so much. Mostly because, like, when I write, the whole reason I write fantasy stuff is to get away from reality.
Fair.
No, that's
so,
legit.
Fair and
like,
valid.
it does definitely, some of my work does definitely have those kind of, like, issues, but it's more coincidental than, like, for example, Clearest Blue deals with, like, human trafficking kind of themes. But that's not, it's not because of that. Like, I didn't put that in there to comment on human trafficking in our society. That's not the message. That just happened to be the plot. I would say there have been things that I've done in the past that have, but I generally don't.
My answer is, I'm going to look at the question again because I'm dumb. Not tragedies. I tend not to pull from tragedies because they're not mine.
Yeah, that's very fair.
There are people in places who can speak up about, you know, great human tragedies. It's their story. And that's just not mine to tell. And I don't know that I would do it well. I wouldn't do it justice. I would fall short of someone who has lived it. Or someone to whom it's had a profound impact. Current issues, I want to say that I'm influenced by, but usually I don't make a deliberate choice to reflect those issues. I'm definitely influenced by current events, such as like seeing like a lack of, in this case, queer diversity in the things that I was reading, and that has influenced me to create more queer literature. If I'm being extra kind and calling my work literature.
Your work is literature. You are an author. We're all authors. We write literature.
I am a word together slapper. I slap together words. So I think that I am influenced whether I want to be or not.
Yes.
Because the issue of my existence is influenced by the existences around me.
There's a certain amount of that in everyone's work.
Yes. But I don't usually choose to focus on specifically current issues when I'm working on a story. It also doesn't help that I will plan stories many years ahead of time, and then not get down to writing them until then, so those things would no longer be contemporary regardless. Because I have a lot of fucking book story.
Well, I mean, people still love reading historical fiction, even though, like, society is...
I mean, that's true, but I don't know that they would, if I was angry at somebody on the internet, I don't know that would carry over. So it is after 10 o'clock.
Okay.
We've accidentally streamed for 2 hours.
Which always happens. You
We're all like, we're
such
going to
good
sit down for an
questions.
hour and stream, and then you guys always have really thoughtful questions, and then we just keep going. But yeah, so some of you will see tomorrow. We will
Thank you for joining us.
take you home tomorrow.
Some of you we will see at Midwest.
Yeah, some of you see in the Midwest, some of you I'll see in Canada. In Canada land. Also tell me if you want Alexa's books, because I can bring you a list of books. Like, that counts as our WAD books.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think thank you.
Thank
you.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for hanging out
Thank
with
you for
us.
joining us.
Y'all are the best squad. We couldn't ask for a better squad. Yeah. We'll catch you next live stream. It's
Whatever we
April.
decided.
Next live stream will be in a couple months probably.
October, maybe.
Well, we're
We
gonna
have to
meet
do
in
it before
July.
October.
If we like
At
decide
the
to stream from
con.
Midwest.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
We'll make
plans.
announcements.
We don't have a plan. We probably should have planned this ahead of time, but we didn't. So yeah, we will see you guys.
Okay.
It's
Bye.
good. It's good.
Bye bye.
Bye.